Evening, and welcome to the 3 December version of the Kennebunkport Town of Kennebunkport Planning Board. We can begin with attendance. There's 4 of us in attendance this evening, so we have a quorum. Mike West is excused for the evening. We have minutes to approve?
No.
Okay. Put that on the ask of, with a follow-up of where the minutes are.
Yes, I'll check in on that.
Okay, so no minutes tonight. We'll start with the first item on the agenda then, number 250801, Bath Lane.
Good evening, James Lowry with BH2M. Here on behalf of Fomez Development LLC tonight to go over the 4-lot subdivision we are proposing off of Bath Lane. Hard to believe that it's been a couple months since we did the site walk out on site, but here we are. Just a quick refresher of the project for everyone. It's a proposed 4-lot subdivision. It's right off of Bath Lane, is an existing private way. Right down on Bath Lane comes off of Old Cape Road, pretty close to the end of the road down by the American Legion. The proposed property is a little bit unusual in that it was a section cut out of it off of Bath Lane some time ago. So we've got one lot called Lot 1 with some open space down in the corner at Bath Lane and Old Cape Road, and then lots 2, 3, and 4 are proposed up on the larger part of the site farther into Bath Lane. The overall, in addition to the 4 parcels per your comments during the sketch plan, we took a closer look at the ordinance and have open space laid in a couple of different locations. Point here
Microphone,
there.
just grab it, hold it in your hand.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, it's okay. You were doing, you were helping us.
Yeah.
You can come to the front if you want.
There is one piece right there as you come around the corner, this hatched area. And there is a second piece right at the corner of Bath Lane and Old Cape Road.
Oh. Gotcha. Okay.
Question?
I see it, yeah. This is open space in the subdivision. It's gonna be commonly held?
Correct,
Is that?
correct.
So will they be a separate lot? Is that how you intend to do it? Or how are you gonna?
I mean, it will be technically a separate legal lot because it's not part of Lot 1,
Right. Okay.
but it'll be held in common by the owners, by the 4 lot owners that are part of the subdivision.
Okay, all right. But it'll have a separate deed?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep, I mean, and I don't know how the attorney may do it. He may deed this and that together
Sure,
as
sure,
one
sure.
parcel, but yes, that will be a separate property legally from lots 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Right. It's really a 5th lot.
Correct.
Yeah. Thank you.
That one and that one, or just that one in the corner?
They both will be open space, held by the
Separate
homeowners
lots.
association.
So,
They may have a common deed, is what he said.
Right.
I know, but does that make it 5, or does that make it 6?
If the open space does not count as a separate lot
Okay.
in terms
Oh, he said it
of
would have
lots to a
In a
subdivision.
subdivision.
Yeah,
Okay.
it will be a lot on our tax maps, but we
Mhm.
don't count it as a 5-lot subdivision because they have
Okay,
open space.
okay.
We require open space for all subdivisions.
Got it.
Right,
Right.
and it may be that it has a common lot number even though it's separated.
They oftentimes don't even have a lot number. When I look at
On the
open
assessor's
space on
map?
when I look at open space on the assessor's map, they oftentimes don't have
Just
a
as
lot
open
number.
space.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So, I'll come back around. Lot 2 here is predominantly, just other than this little corner, is in the free enterprise zone. The remainder of the piece is in the Cape Porpoise West zone. Little bit split here, but the majority is in Lot 3. Of Lot 3 is in the Cape Porpoise West with the slightly lower minimum lot size requirements. There is a small piece, the upper part of Turbot's Creek comes right down through here, has associated floodplain and wetlands with that. Some of the changes we've made, or updates to the plans, based on the latest ordinance changes that passed in the ordinance, was to update the net lot areas on the plan. So we've got that indicated that all of the proposed lots meet the required net lot area size. Wetland delineation was performed back in the spring, and a vernal pool assessment was done at the same time, or roughly the same time. No vernal pools were identified. The proposed road will be a 16-foot gravel road, approximately 720 feet long. One of the major changes to the plan compared to our initial sketch plan discussion, and even at the site walk, was with regard to serving lots 2, 3, and 4 with public water. The applicant has decided to go ahead and do that. So within the plans, we've proposed a 4-inch water main to come up Bath Lane. There's actually, because of the way that the private road was built, it's a little offset within the right-of-way. We've got ample room to bring a water line up on the project side of Bath Lane. Propose a hydrant down here through our discussion with the fire chief at the end of Bath Lane on the opposite side of Old Cape Road, which is where the 16-inch water main lays.
James, say again, you said the public water, and then you said the 3 of the lots?
Yes, so Lot 1 was always
Yeah.
planned to have public water.
All right, so no change there.
Correct.
So it's all-
Now the change is adding public water to 2, 3, and 4 instead of their own private wells.
Those 3 will have private septic? Is that
Yes,
what that
that's correct.
was? And the one down front is got public?
No, that'll also have private septic. All of these will be on their own septic systems.
Just water. Is there water coming up Reynolds Lane as well?
I don't believe there is. There's a 16-inch main that comes down Old Cape Road, which we're tying into. I don't believe it comes up Reynolds Lane. And what else did I have in my notes? We did get an ability to serve letter. Since we sent in the response to comment letter last week on Nadia's original comments on the plan, we have gotten an ability to serve letter from the Water District, and that was forwarded over to Nadia earlier this morning. There are a couple of waivers that we had requested in the submission requirements that were outlined in our letter that was originally back to you guys in August. One was for a high-intensity soil survey. We prepared or provided the medium-intensity soil survey that you can download from the NRCS website. In addition to that, we've got the test pits that were for the septic systems that were dug and observed by a soil site evaluator. So have those in the packet. And then as well, a hydrogeologic assessment. The site is not located in the vicinity of a significant sand and gravel aquifer. When we originally had characterized or made an argument for the waiver, we noted the separation between, the available separation between the septic systems and the wells. Of course, the wells will not be an issue at this point with the public water. And, you know, as such, we don't expect where these, you know, no, you know, unusual soils encountered out there to have a, you know, a specially designed septic system. So we don't expect any adverse impacts to water quality due to the septics.
Now, you said that it was observed, so I'm assuming it was fine.
Yeah, so, I mean, they were, the test pits were passing, the ones that we show there, there's just,
Perfect.
that's, yep.
Okay.
And then I think the last thing that I wanted to mention, and this, actually, I noted it to Nadia right before the meeting. There's been some back and forth. We've proposed a number of different road names for the project. The latest that reflected on this plan, Seabound Way, was not acceptable to the assessor because of a number of other C-named roads in town. So I got an email from one of the applicants right before I left the office that they are looking at Driftwood Drive. So that will be forwarded over to Nadia. She'll run it through the assessor, but trying to keep that moving forward because we just want to, you know, make everybody happy with the name.
And where is that road? It doesn't have a name now? Is that what's going on?
Well, we've proposed a couple of different names.
No, but today, is it
today
known as
there's a
anything?
road there, right?
Today, there's no other,
Oh, I thought that, you said
We
that there
stood on a
was.
road.
yes, that's Bath Lane.
That's Bath Lane.
Yeah,
That's Bath Lane.
which,
That's Bath Lane. This road through here
oh, I see.
has been, it was salty air. Think something else we threw out there that didn't work.
Okay.
Then Seabound and,
Keep it a bath,
yeah.
faucet, or drain, shower head. Shower head, that's another one.
Thank you.
So you said Driftwood Drive. So
Driftwood Drive, correct. So, with that, I'll, happy to answer any questions that I can, or feedback from, or comments from Nadia.
And the homeowners association will have some obligation for the maintenance as well of Bath Road?
Correct. So in the, I looked at a couple, we included the existing road maintenance agreement of Bath Lane in our response to comment material. It was, a couple of provisions I noted in there that I thought were important and, you know, maybe pertinent to your review. One is that it allows for the installation of additional utilities and development into property that was owned by a SMATH LLC, which Fomez is the successor to SMATH. It was sold to them. And then there's also a provision in the road maintenance agreement for the fractional contribution of maintenance costs. It doesn't, you know, right now, I think there's only two parties to that road maintenance agreement. As two developed lots, part of that road maintenance agreement. I don't know how they divvy it up. But because it's not like others you would notice if it was, you know, only 3 lots each, everybody would be obligated for 1/3 of the cost. That language isn't in here, it's just a little more generic where it discusses the fractional share of maintenance costs based on the lots accessed by Bath Lane. So just a, you know, an engineer's review of that seems that it would automatically default as the number of lots increase, the fractional share would, you know, the denominator would be consistent with the number of lots.
Is that typical of the fractional piece?
Yes, I mean, the sharing of maintenance costs based on the fractional component that a lot would be a part of the road is very common.
So I understand, if I'm way at the back at lot number 4,
Right.
will I have a higher?
Typically
Share?
not.
Okay. so
Typically, it's
when you
all-
say fractionally, mean equal.
Right.
Okay.
It's just basically, if it's 4 lots, it's divvied
If
up
the-
25% apiece. If
lots-
it's 10, it's 10%.
Hopefully not for your sake, stay vacant for 10 years, the cost will be split between the two owners of the
Right.
land. Thank you.
Right.
And the other two homes that are at the far end of Bath Lane, do they have any obligation to support Driftwood Drive's maintenance?
No, so.
Does it become one whole?
No, in our original application material, we presented a road maintenance agreement solely for what's now called Driftwood Drive. So essentially, as I see it, the owners on lots 2, 3, and 4 of Driftwood, what will be Driftwood Drive, would be obligated under a second road maintenance agreement for the costs associated with Driftwood Drive.
And lot 1 will be accessed off of Bath Lane?
Correct.
So that's a lot for the Bath Lane share?
Correct.
Got it.
And could you note on the plans at some point where snow's going to go? I'm presuming it's gonna be pile up on lot 4 and lot 3 at that turnaround?
Yeah, much of it will just be pushed off to the side of the road with, pretty typical plowing practices in and out.
Yeah.
If there are, especially with the hammerhead, we can note an area. We tried to leave some extra room of cleared area to push snow to the back so it doesn't, impede the movement in the turnaround. But we can note an area to remain clear for snow storage.
Just so that
Yep.
lots 3 and 4 don't ever get into a contest about who had too much snow put on their yard.
Right, yep.
Not that that could ever happen. I myself have never belonged to a homeowners association, nor would they want to be.
Mr. Chairman, we have a hand raised on Zoom.
Yes?
Shall I allow them to speak?
No?
Okay.
I should explain that this is a preliminary, an initial review. And as such, the applicant speaking will hear his discussion. The board will ask some questions perhaps, and if it is deemed a complete application, then there will be a public hearing that's scheduled at the next opportunity. Sorry to interrupt.
I'm done.
Okay. When we start on this, any questions?
I'm good.
Pete, any more? Anything else?
I'm a little curious about the common area off of Driftwood Drive. Is that because there's a minimum amount of common area that must be included, and it's not, I mean, I understand on the corner of Bath Lane, because that's wetlands,
Yep,
and that makes sense. But that wasn't enough, you needed more.
yes. The driver for the two pieces is the 15% requirement.
Is the-
This actually is a small amount of wetlands down here, but, you've got the floodplain too. The town has criteria that you can't have all of your open space made up of, undevelopable property. So, we've met that criteria with how we've laid this out. Part of the logic for the open space here was there was some discussion, the fire chief right now doesn't anticipate using Reynolds Lane for access, but if at some point through the future, there, could be the potential, you'd have to work with the owners, but you could work with the 3 owners collectively instead of relying on a single owner, i.e. Lot 4, to say yes or no to, a potential connection between the two for emergency services.
Is it wooded now?
Yes, the whole site is pretty well wooded.
I'm good.
George?
Just waiting on the stormwater.
Correct. We got those comments, we received them, was it today or yesterday? I
That
can't
was my
remember.
error. I mixed up Salty Air and Salty Acres, so the applicant got their stormwater comments a little bit later than they should have.
I think it was earlier this morning. You
Yes, it was-
forwarded them to me. I've taken a quick look at them, but we'll be preparing a full response and any revisions necessary.
Thank you. The site walk was very helpful because it was difficult to visualize.
Nadia, was there anything that you noticed in the comments? I know you probably didn't study them either, but.
I read through them,
anything
but
glaring that suggested that the waivers that are being asked in terms of hydrological survey would be.
not that I could
Okay.
see.
That was the only piece
Mhm.
of information I was looking for.
And most of the comments in the stormwater memo, as I understood them, I'm not an engineer,
I
so
hear you.
were relatively minor. So I don't picture there being a huge overhaul of design to accommodate them.
Okay. Remind me what's included in this preliminary package with regard to HOA documents?
We had submitted an initial HOA document.
Yeah.
There was some feedback, some comments from staff on a couple of nuances of the language. I think with one respect, well, the big thing, I shouldn't say the big thing, one of the items was the maintenance of the open space.
Yeah,
Ultimately, your ordinance is pretty restrictive on what can happen within the open space. So, I think pretty much utilities may be the only a utility crossing may be the only provision. So they are being updated, the HOA docs and the road maintenance agreement for what will be Driftwood Drive are being updated by the attorney. And, but ultimately, I don't expect that the maintenance part of the open space, which was one of Nadia's comments, is gonna be anything that's gonna be out of the ordinary.
nothing significant. Jim.
Right.
So the type of thing that we see, I live in an 8 member HOA on, it's similar to this, only twice as big. And our open space has a meadow. And the HOA documents should basically just say that the HOA is responsible for maintaining it. Well, it turns out in this case, it's wet, and we have to mow it once a year.
Right.
All right, so that, the group agreed on that, and that's what we do. From time to time, it happens that a tree that's in the open area falls down across the road.
Right.
Usually one of us or a couple of us go and take care of that, but it's, I think something that's as broadly stated as the maintenance of the open area is, part of the wherewithal of the HOA is one thing we'd be looking for.
Correct, and it will be in those HOA documents, and covenants, for lack of a better word, to spell that out. But ultimately, the responsibility will be on the lot owners for any down trees. We won't have any mowing to take care of or anything significant. It's all wooded, but, really no potential for development in that.
Good. Well, if there's nothing else, does anyone have a motion about this application? And a thought, is it complete or not?
I'll make a motion that this application is complete.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So what we'll do is we'll see you in, the next opportunity is a couple of weeks from now,
December 17th.
if that's convenient
Will that be for a public hearing?
for a public
Yes.
hearing.
Okay.
A pre-Christmas festivity.
And just to clarify, because there has been some confusion about this in the past, the preliminary approval is not, is not final approval as the name suggests. So there will be a second application that you'll need to submit afterwards.
Yeah, this is
No.
the approval of the preliminary application.
No, completely
First to
understand that. So a public hearing, you said December
17th, 2 weeks from tonight.
at 6 PM.
Do we have a case manager for this?
Not yet. Happy to take it.
Would you mind? That'd be great.
My turn. It's not a dock.
Okay,
Thank you.
well, thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
I'd like to move on to item 250802, 132 Marshall Point Road.
I could see the front side.
And this is, there will be a public hearing tonight after Werner introduces the subject.
Good evening, Board.
Hello.
For the record, my name is Warner Gilliam. I'm with Walsh Engineering Associates, here on behalf of the Aslett family, who own property at 132 Marshall Point Road. And so the last time we were together, we talked about the proposed revetment. This is a second phase of shoreline stabilization for the property. The first phase of which has been constructed and completed. So this, and I think we've got the video teed up again. I'll just, for everyone, I think we'll maybe actually be able to watch it this time in its entirety. So whenever you're ready, Dave. So one of the things that we talked about the last time was in this particular area, there on the previous plan was an area identified for further marsh restoration. And as you can see, that veg has come back in pretty well, and so we took that off of the plan, as it's recovering quite nicely. And so you'll see the extent of what was constructed for the first phase of the revetment. What this replaces essentially is there was a failed wall, that we saw previously that had collapsed in one of the past winter storms. Yeah, right around in there. Yep.
Back there where there has been seagrass growing, is that the access road you used to?
No, it's just
Or is that the next
just a
property?
footpath.
Okay.
Yeah, that was just a footpath.
Thanks.
So the access for construction, will just come through the lawn area. And so really what we're doing here is we're just continuing that revetment along in front of that existing wall, that's there. In areas where ledge is present, the boulders will be pinned to the ledge. And as we bring those areas around, that area that where the boathouse used to be that was also storm damaged just gets filled in with boulders, likewise, that are also pinned. And then, as we discussed at the last meeting, the revetment stops there at the stairs. So.
And some did a heck of a lot of work on that original wall.
Oh, yeah, I mean, the workmanship of it, was incredible. It's just not reinforced,
Well, they didn't know they were going to have to.
Yeah, no, they got the goodness out of it, that's for sure. So, that's it. I know there was a request for an updated application with some lot coverage numbers, which we did provide. Beyond that, I'm happy to discuss anything, any questions that may have come up since the last time that we met.
Just out of curiosity, you said, I think you used the word, those boulders will be pinned?
Correct, yes.
What does that mean?
Yeah, so essentially what we do is we'll have there's that you get a hole drilled in the ledge, right, and a stainless steel pin is inserted in there.
Into the ledge?
Into the ledge itself, yep, and that's epoxied into the ledge. And then similarly, you've got a hole that gets drilled on the underside of the boulder, and it likewise gets just set down on top of that and gets epoxied to it as well. So it gets pinned in pretty good. The boulders are, they're not insignificant in size, as you could see. Really with the intent that, they're not really subject to much movement. Revetments do tend to shift a little bit. That's just the nature of irregular rocks. And so we don't pin everything, but we really just, what we wind up pinning to the ledge are just the boulders that are the toe boulders that get pinned into the ledge. So. And as Larry would have asked, we'll be,
Yeah, I was gonna
we'll be using, the appropriate stainless, stainless that he would have requested us.
epoxy?
Right, yep. Yep, I could probably pull out the epoxy spec if you would like, but,
Larry's watching.
You might be watching.
For this?
yep.
It's coming in.
Okay, okay.
Any questions from the board?
No, I'm
Right
good.
here.
You open this to a public hearing, you okay with that, Werner? You ready? You open the public hearing, please? Oh, that's on me, you don't have to do anything.
No, you just have to.
Is there, anyone in the audience that wishes to speak on this? None here, are there any hands raised?
There are no hands raised.
And we will close the public hearing without any additional comment. And I'd ask if there are any motions.
I'll motion to approve.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Werner, thank you,
All
as
right, very well.
always.
Thank you, board.
Good work.
And I think, Nadia, you have the plan, correct, that's good for them to sign?
Yes.
Yep,
Who's the
okay.
case manager on this?
Great, thank you.
Mike, I think.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah, I think he.
Yeah, whenever Mike's not here, we say he's the case manager. He was kind enough to do one. I think you're ready to read, someone's gonna read for him tonight.
Sure, let somebody
And he
else.
pointed out, he said he didn't think he was the case manager originally,
But he didn't show up.
but he wasn't here, so. And he still dares not to show up.
Someone else could have been the original case manager. Yeah. You know where it used to be called.
Moving on. To item number 3 and 4. We've been asking that these two be reviewed together. It seems to be working well. So they're item number 251001 for 127 Ocean Ave and 251002 for 133 Ocean Ave, the Breakwater Inn. Evening, John.
Good evening, I'm here representing the Breakwater Inn's two properties and their parking. I don't know if you've seen the latest memo I only sent out today with.
I'll pull it up on the screen here.
I know there's been some questions about the parking, square footage Nadia brought up in the last
Yeah, there still
memo.
are, I guess.
And so if we look at how it laid out, I think Nadia had unit, I want to get this right.
I believe we were counting units A, B, and F. And in the updated the diagram here that you sent us, you are not counting unit B and you're not counting about
Units.
half of unit F.
So for
Correct.
those that are listening, and those that haven't, just a refresher here, apparently the staff, when they reviewed the plans and felt that perhaps the amount of floor space that was allocated to the retail portion here, and of course it's associated parking, so with that, was understated. And John's speaking now to how they calculated.
Correct. What,
So these are the, I'd say, original plans for the breakwater that list. You can, I don't know if you can see it clearly there, but here says retail space, and that's the entirety of Unit F as listed on our plans, and then up here also counting Units A and B as retail space. And we 2 meetings ago, I believe, Sunny was here as well and confirmed the use of those units as retail space. When we rolled out the-
B isn't hotel though, right?
Hmm?
B isn't noted as retail.
No,
this
not
is
now.
this is John's addition to the plan.
Oh, okay.
These
So
little boxes.
These are, I didn't have them, but these are the condominium declaration drawings, which are kind of crazy. They split all the units up, and I don't know who owns what per se, like the lobby has a delineation and the manager's office has its own condo. So in the end, units B and C now are currently hotel units. You check in at unit B, and unit C is the hotel gift shop. So the only real retail is unit A, and then when you go back to unit F on the next page, on the far right, that's all storage for Dana Men's and hotel storage. There's no access.
I'm confused.
Yeah.
Are you saying that the plans that you've submitted, you disagree with them?
No, this is what I've.
I'm confused.
So he's noted, he's kind of made his own lines here to delineate which spaces are currently used for active retail and the spaces that are just used for storage.
Right.
So on our original plans, this whole unit is just retail.
It was called
space.
retail.
So the plans that Nadia and the team have are incorrect, and they need to be modified to reflect the markup that you're showing us here? Is that correct?
Well, that's a good question.
Thank you.
Only because these are the condo drawings, so unit F on paper looks like it's all owned by one person, which I think the breakwater owns the whole unit and then leases part of unit F to Dana for retail and part of it for storage. And then they retain part of it for their own storage.
So you're getting into something that hasn't been brought up to this point. I was under the impression, and the application seems to say, that both of these properties are owned by the Breakwater Inn.
Correct.
And now you're saying there's
Correct.
another owner?
No, it's all the breakwater, but they subdivided so unit F is its own the crazy thing is this whole building is a condominium.
I'm trying to lead you somewhere. Let
Yeah,
me
okay.
just be
Yeah.
open about this. We rely on the applicant to a large degree here, and I have no reservation about doing that in this case. You've been
Yeah.
open, you're honest, professional about all of this. We're looking for a clear statement that says, hey, here's the retail space number, and it requires this much parking, and here's where it is on our property. And what I'm hearing is, well, we're not quite sure where it is and how big it is, and if that's your position, it's gonna be hard to approve.
No, what it is I only saw these drawings yesterday for the first time. So and so I went over and said, okay, what's here? I mean, I should have done that a long time ago.
It's okay.
And so it is all owned by one entity.
Right. Let's not bring in that complication to it.
Which
So
is
in the owner's mind and records, where is the retail space and how big is it? And does it coincidentally match the number that lines up with the parking? Or is it bigger than that, as the staff is concerned, and it requires more parking that doesn't exist?
well, in my recalculation, it actually ended up we have 2 extra spaces.
Okay, all right, so I haven't seen that yet.
No, yeah, and that's what when I got these yesterday, I redid it and sent it off to Nadia this morning.
Okay, so this is, in fact, the latest revision of the plan that has been given to the town?
Correct,
We just haven't looked at it ourselves.
correct.
You're giving me the look that
I'm,
sort of says you're confused too here, but.
yeah, I'm just trying to follow it. I mean, we went from, I don't know, this is like a curveball.
So what happened to me is, because I volunteered to be case manager, I couldn't stick Mike with it, you know. I went and I read the site plan memo this morning, and I realized that there's this outstanding issue that we didn't talk about last time when we said, oh yeah, 92 spaces is fine.
Yeah.
The staff said, hey, you based that 92 on a retail space of X.
The staff, what staff?
The staff,
Us.
Nadia's
Yours, okay,
Yes.
all right,
team
all right, yes.
of people that pores over this and knows the code and said, you know, you said one thing, but the plans that you gave us show more retail
Right,
space
right.
than that. And if you believe the plans, then you're short 3 parking spaces. So John's been reacting to that in real time, is what I'm gathering. And we're
Attempting.
seeing the result of that.
But where
real time.
did these
Well,
new
well,
diagrams come from, and how old are they?
These drawings, I never
It
looked
was
at
still
the date.
schooners, that's 30 years.
These are from 1987.
30 years.
What I want to hear is that the applicant is saying that these plans represent the reality today of where the retail space is.
Yes,
And if he's willing to do that, he's saying, oh, I goofed before.
Yep.
And I'm okay with that, unless the town thinks they need to go down and audit this, and well, I'm not asking for that. You believe
I
him?
think that I think the unit F is specifically challenging, I think, because we don't really have a clear way to deal with retail storage space. We have a warehouse use, but this isn't, I don't think, doesn't fall under warehouse. So I think that this is where we might get tied up, is the whole retail storage issue.
Is the retail storage space contiguous to the retail?
no,
It's separate.
they have to go outside.
They have to go outside.
And there's no entry
Yeah, no,
It- from Ocean Avenue
yeah.
into those units, so there's no,
You're counting both of those. You're counting the storage and you're counting the retail shop
But-
as retail.
There-
no.
There-
I took the storage out.
In the storage space, there's no bathroom.
Oh, that,
Is there a separate entrance? Is that where you were going?
Well, here's what I'm trying to go to, is that if I'm renting retail space, it's standards for men or whatever it is, and they are also getting, along with that rental agreement, this storage space. It's like if I've got an apartment with a storage unit underneath, I'm paying one price for it. It's not 2 separate entities, it's part of
well,
that.
what the condominium drawings show is one bathroom in each unit.
Of course.
So unit F, being one large unit, has one bathroom.
It could at some point in time become a separate retail space,
It could.
or a studio apartment, or some enterprise.
Yeah, so, and whether they added, I didn't get into the storage spaces, whether they added a bathroom in there at some point, I have no-
I feel like we're trying in real time to do the job we asked the applicant to do and submit to the town. And we'll give a little more time here if we need it. I thought I understood, you said you went and you recalculated the retail space, and now you just told me that, what I heard, rather, was that retail space is in 2 pieces, and you've only counted one of them. And if you, no,
no. No, there are 2 retail units
okay,
specifically in the building.
all right, and you're counting both of them?
We're
as-
counting
as
both of
retail.
them as retail. And the Nadia's hiccup, I think, is what is the storage space, right?
Yes.
You mean there's a
Yeah.
third section somewhere that's
Well, it's
retail storage?
it's this part in unit F. So these 2 boxes are used
two
for
in blue,
storage.
right? Not in-
Yes.
Yeah.
So, the first one, the
Well,
one in
no,
the
it's-
middle
The
belongs
one
to
on-
that.
the one on the right is storage for a hotel.
Yeah,
Oh, but that's in name only, right? I mean, that's just what you call it. What if tomorrow you decided that you're gonna put retail in there?
Well, we'll probably
I'm
have to come back
interested in
here.
what you're doing today.
Okay, got it, all right.
Yeah, we'll have
We
to come
can
back here
We can
and,
agree on that, Don. I think we'd be a step ahead of the game.
Right, okay.
You counted the left one, retail,
correct.
and the storage for retail, in terms of retail space.
No, I didn't count the storage for, the retail.
Well, what
as
did you
retail.
count it as part then?
I called it storage. I mean, I'm thinking typically, you know, when I'm going into, I don't know about your ordinance, but, the life safety ordinances and things like that, when you're counting retail space for, number of occupants, you take out the storage. So you don't have, and you don't exit through the storage, storage is its own little, I don't wanna,
So I'm
Item.
gonna, I'll leave that to the town.
yeah.
What's the worst case? If you added that in, are you short parking spaces?
If we added it all in, we might be
I mean,
one,
all, 200 square feet.
well, not the 200, but if you said you wanted to add the other storage for the hotel.
No, why would I
okay.
do that?
I don't know.
I'm interested in retail.
Okay, then we're probably, one space, if it's, well, it's 200 square feet, it adds one more space, and so one space over. We have enough parking and an
You have
additional,
a spare.
and a spare.
John,
Yeah,
could you go back to the overhead photograph of the building itself? Or Nadia? Because
Yes,
I get okay, here, yes, thank you. So I'm oriented like this. F is up here? Or is that the building down? This is the photography studio, this is.
I think F is
it's the
north.
very, at the
of
north,
where I-
very
F
top,
F is up here.
yeah.
So what's showing as retail storage, is that back behind Dana's?
It's adjacent to Dana's,
Adjacent to Dana's, and the hotel's using it?
and then they're using the next one adjacent to Dana's storage.
Okay, all right, okay. I mean, so there's nothing obvious about it that's retail space. No one walks back there, you'd have to go all the way back around the building. There used to be a restaurant back there years ago. Not there, but.
Oh, in that unit, yeah,
Yeah.
yep,
But
yeah,
I mean,
there
so
was.
there's no reason for anybody to go back here, there's no suggestion for any of that.
No,
It-
no.
Thank you. And is there a doorway back there?
There are two doors into each
Each
storage,
unit.
but not on Oceanside,
Okay,
on Ocean Avenue side. So it's, yeah,
Thanks.
that was actually pointed out to me, to the person in Dana, you know, I was like, oh, well, she goes out and around.
okay.
Nadia, I know you don't have the team with you here tonight, but what's your thoughts on where we're going with this?
I think that for our purposes, it would be helpful to see maybe instead of a marked up version of the 87 plan, maybe
A sketch of the
a
current
sketch of how
situation.
we are currently. I think that I don't have a clear understanding of where there are walls or aren't walls, especially, and I think that it is, you know, as we talk about future potential review of the same, you know, any changes to the property, it would be helpful to have a paper trail in that way. I think that I can certainly go in and review our ordinance more. There is a section in Article 7 that for retail uses in the dock square and riverfront zones, they shall contain no less than 500 square feet of gross floor area, which does impact our unit A over here. So I think that maybe we need to do a little bit more review together to sort of reconcile these differences.
With a goal of having a simple, emphasize, simple diagram, sort of like the direction that you went on the parking, something that anybody can see, that shows, here's the outline, here's the area that is used for retail sales, and here's the associated storage for it, and that's all the retail there is.
Yep.
And it needs to support the numbers that tie to the parking. And if you do that, I think this is gonna be clean.
Sure, I think that maybe we can work together, our office and you, to sort of reconcile the differences that we have.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
and I can get over and get into the storage spaces and measure it up. Because, I mean, there could be jogs in there. I mean, I just, what looked like made sense to me going from a column to a column.
But that's gonna be down in the noise, I think. You know, is it 200, is it 210? If you think those jogs are gonna make it 600 versus 200, then
No,
yeah, it's
no,
important. But if it's,
no. That's why
we're
I did
talking
it that
about
way.
just something that isn't confusing.
Yep,
so we can certainly, you know, we can go with you and we can look at it together so that
Yep.
we have a shared understanding of where we're at with the retail space.
What are we, you know, what is our position?
Yep,
And
yep.
they ask you and they ask me, they get the same story. Okay. So we're still looking for that, but it sounds like we think at the end of the day, and unless there's some surprise, that you've got enough parking. You haven't, I tried to write a draft of the findings of fact, and when I read that site plan memo, I said, well, wait a minute. Maybe the short three space?
yeah, so yeah, Nadia had unit C, I think, is when I tried to match the numbers as,
I think we had Unit
Well, because
B
the
and the
original plan
and the
said-
entirety of Unit F. So
Yeah.
I double checked with Galen. We weren't counting Unit C, but we were counting B and all
You
of
were counting
F,
B.
which
yeah.
sort of adds up to the
Yeah.
1,000 more square
Yeah.
feet.
Yeah,
That
you had B and not C.
hmm
And B is really that's where the check-in desk is, so.
So I think
You'll
you know
figure.
we'll go look at it together, and
Okay,
then we
good.
can both be understanding the same thing when we look at the plans.
So hopefully we'll straighten that out. That's great. I mean, it's not great you had to jump through the hoops. I will ask the others if they have any questions before we open a public hearing.
No, I don't. I think what you just suggested
You're
will
okay
work.
with that too?
Absolutely,
I'm
yeah.
sorry, I should have checked with the board.
No, I think that's good. I think the easier you can make it, the better. And
Yeah,
to be,
yeah.
to have it very clear. You know, when you come, it's just, here it is, it's a fact, bam.
I'll bring my tape measure.
I'll
That's what it's-
I'll restate what we went through last time. At the end of the day, it seems like, it certainly seems like what we're doing is we are alleviating some of the parking demand by in the net with the changes you're making. You're not
Well, at
adding
least-
storage, you're not adding, you know,
Well, yeah,
so I
we're,
don't wanna come up with an answer that says, oh my God, I can't approve this because,
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah.
but you need to have a clean
Yep.
package.
okay.
I have a couple of questions about the package, again, as I tried to write the findings
Yeah.
of fact. You tell me about the ownership of Breakwater Inn. I a couple of, I'll just tell you a couple of things that confuse me. It says that Shiva Natarajan is the applicant. Right?
I believe that he owns the LLC that is technically the owner of the breakwater. Is that correct? Okay.
Applicant and the owner of record, Shiva Natarajan. And I hadn't heard that name before. I don't see it on any of the deeds. So I just wanted to, we just never questioned it before, but who's really the applicant here? And how does the applicant, because the applicant then isn't mentioned in the deed is saying that 127 Ocean Ave LLC owns the property. Who's that? They own both properties. 127 Ocean Ave LLC owns the deed, is the recipient of the deed transaction that's in both the 133 and the 127 package. There is something in here that says Maine Department Secretary of State, the Seabiscuits Hotel Group, LLC. Other names are the Breakwater Inn, Little Port Wine and Gift Shop, Port Fish and Chop House, There's no mention of 127 Ocean Ave LLC in that. And there's no mention of the applicant. And we don't have a letter that says you're authorized to speak for the applicant.
Oh, really? That was something I specifically
I think
asked.
that was in the original.
Yeah, I said, you're gonna have to have a letter for me to speak. So I haven't seen the application. I didn't.
We
I
have
didn't-
a letter of authorization.
You can
Yes.
send that to me, I appreciate it.
Yep, it's in the, I'm happy to email it directly.
It
It's,
might be in 133.
But Ed, did we hear tonight that it's also a condominium? I mean, that strikes me as new news as well.
And maybe the condominium got,
Being the Schooners condominium
Good.
dated 24 September 1987. Anyway, it does show that as being in its legacy.
Well, no, but I think what the question was, you mentioned that these units were condominiums. I even asked Nadia, if it's a condominium, it would have a separate deed,
Yeah.
right?
Right,
And
yeah, right.
Technically, you'd have a separate tax parcel if it's a condo, so.
you know, maybe
I
they
think
all,
some of the
well, so,
language is a
so
little-
basically the drawings we were looking at are the old condominium
Back to its
drawings.
condo days.
Whatever happened after that, maybe they got combined, you know,
So I'm concerned that the application, although we said it was complete, there is some questions with it.
No, that's the bid authorization.
Who's it from?
From Shiva.
From Shiva, from the owner. So what would be great is if we could somehow tie Mr. Natarajan to the 127 Ocean Ave LLC.
He states in that letter that I am the owner of property at 127 and 131 Ocean Avenue and authorized John.
Okay?
But it should say something that says he is part of the LLC. There should be some document.
Yeah,
Doesn't mention the
because the only LLC that's in here for the Breakwater Inn says their legal name is the Seabiscuits Hotel Group.
Well, there's also one for the Breakwater, on the deed of Breakwater LLC.
There is?
On the deed.
No, they're the seller. They're the
They were the seller.
transferor.
Right, yes, grants 127 Ocean Avenue LLC, thank you, yes.
They used to.
They used to. Before
What
that, it
what
was,
I'm asking
before
for
that was
is a,
Seabiscuits with the schooners.
is a clear statement or a correction of the LLC's name and its good standing record. Instead of the Seabiscuits Hotel Group, good standing, why can't I have a 127 Ocean Ave LLC?
I think just some kind of document tying,
yeah.
some kind of trail tying
To
everyone
the
together.
LLC, to the deed, to you. Oh, I got, George,
you
Oh, yeah.
okay, that I do have that. I do have that, my mistake.
I'm legit.
Sorry.
And you have a good standing, but the good standing is for Seabiscuits Hotel Group, also known as Breakwater Inn, Little Port Wine and Gift Shop, Port Fish and Chop House.
So I apologize for not catching this earlier, but.
No, and it's
I don't think,
fiscal is 127.
I'm sure it's gonna be straightened out, and I wanna proceed. If you guys are all right with that.
Yeah,
And, any other questions?
I'm good.
This is all Peter's fault, because I tried to follow his template for the findings of fact, and when I went to, wait a minute, what's going on here?
Doing what it's supposed to do.
That's right, it is, it worked well. I'd like to open the public hearing at this point. Is there anyone here who wants to speak?
He sure does.
Sir, uh-oh. Tell us who
Hey,
you are,
everybody.
please.
Name is John Martin. I'm managing partner and representing the Colony Hotel, Mountain Hotel Corporation. We have abutting properties at 138 Ocean Ave, 140 Ocean Ave, 144 Ocean Ave, 6 Colony Ave, I've been here, yeah, 8 Colony Ave, and 12 Colony Ave. So first of all, I want to thank the AV crew, because I've been watching this play out for the last few episodes, and I couldn't have done this without having to come here. So I don't know if you guys get enough thanks, but it was good to be able to watch it and rewatch it, which was helpful. I'm gonna if it's okay with the board, I'd like to talk about both projects at the same time, because I'm only here to talk about parking,
Yes, please.
and they both fall under
Yeah, I
my
think that's
parking
what we found,
concerns.
is that it
Yeah,
it just
okay,
confuses
great.
us more if we don't do that.
Yeah, that's great. So, when we, you recognize me because I was here for the Colony development,
course.
when we did the Cove side development on the north side of Colony Ave. When we did that project, we were proposing 90 guest rooms. But we couldn't do it because we didn't have enough parking. So we built 47. We built what we had parking for. That's it, name of the game. During that process, I brought to my team the concept of coming to you guys and saying, let's just abandon the parking ordinance. Let's see if we can get the board to give it up. Let's just not have parking down here anymore. We'll build our 90 rooms. And they all said, you can't do this, John. You've got a horse in the race, skin in the game. You know, you can't argue for banning the
And the
ban.
board isn't empowered.
Well, so I guess I was going to propose that for you guys for this, because I don't have skin in the game. But if we're not going to abandon it, then it needs to be enforced. And it's not in this exact case, okay? This board has been lied to by the applicant. He said there's not a parking problem. There's a gigantic parking problem down in our neighborhood. He said he's never had, he said it in the last meeting, I've never had a problem with parking. I have a text chain from him talking about parking problems in our neighborhood. His employees parking in my lot. I have it in writing. Never. We define never at the Colony differently than apparently Sonny defines never. Never means it never happened. Not I have a text saying my employees are parking in your lot. Okay?
Who's
You,
Sonny?
excuse me? Sonny's the owner. The manager, I don't know what his position is, but Sonny, the applicant.
He came and spoke.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
He's not in.
Yeah, you guys asked him several times, if you don't have the parking, like the fictitious lawn parking, where do people park? I'm gonna tell the answer, because I didn't get a chance till tonight. They park in my lot. I call him regularly. I have tried to work with him as much as possible, and he's not helping me. So this is my only chance right now to make a difference in the parking nightmare we have down on Ocean Ave. My problem is that I either need to put up no parking signs, I need to tow tourists, which is the last thing I ever want to do, or I have to confront bridal parties in tuxedos walking out of my lot into his wedding where he put a tent where 20 of his spots are. And they tell me, and well, this is what they tell me, they told us we could park here. Okay, that's a tourist answer, I understand. I'm not gonna hold Sonny to that. That was fine the first time. But the second time, oh, they said we could park across the street in your lot. Oh, Colony has plenty of parking, park over there. So when you're told there's not a problem, there's a big problem. And the problem is, he doesn't have enough parking for his operation. That's it. He doesn't have enough parking. So, you know, where's the teeth in the ordinance? Okay, when Lori Buongiorno changes the lawn, which when I was a kid, that was actually a road, and when you ate at the breakwater, you looked at cars between you and the river.
Yeah.
When Lori Buongiorno changed that, we accepted that as a parking plan. But when Sonny put fire pits and chairs out there, tell me who's gonna park there. John will show you a picture from 2011. I wanna see one picture when it wasn't staged, when they were actually open and parking people there. Show me one of those ever in the history of that establishment. Because I know where they're parking, in my lot. Because I built the parking you guys requested, which is fine. I just want him to have the same thing. I guess what I'm saying is that when someone changes the use of the space, when does it get addressed? How does it get addressed? Can you pull up, by the way, do you have the shot of 133 aerial?
You're looking for the parking
Yeah,
shot?
yeah.
Yeah, I can pull that up.
So he'll pull this up. I guess my question is, when someone puts things, items that make parking impossible, who takes charge of that? Do the police? Do you?
Well, I will tell you that it is not the planning board.
Okay, but,
Just-
okay.
I'm not minimizing your point. I think you're saying there's a code enforcement issue here.
Well,
And you
he
don't
has
know
a
whether-
building, well, he'll pull it, we actually need 133, not 127.
Remember
Yeah.
what you've heard us say is,
Yeah,
well, this looks like, whatever you're doing here, you've asked us for permission to make some minor changes in use. Take some rooms and convert them,
correct.
and I have to agree that it does seem to reduce the parking demand by a minor amount, compared to taking away the grassed area,
If you accept the parking plan as submitted.
if you accept the parking plan.
If you're talking about a net change,
Yes,
that's assuming you accept this parking plan.
I'm told that it was accepted.
Mine wasn't at the Colony, you made me rewrite a whole new one when I did a development. When I made a change to the use of the building, and I had to do the old building that had no change, this board made me rewrite the parking plan for the Colony Hotel on a side of the road that was never touched, not even under review. You made me do it again.
So what would you have us do, John?
I have you treat him the same way as you treated me. I want to have 20 rooms, I need 20 spots. I want to have 80 seats in my restaurant, I need 20 spots. He should satisfy the rule of the ordinance.
And do you see a way that that could be done physically?
It's not my development, it's
I'm
his.
just asking you for some help here.
It's not my development, I'm not, I mean,
So you would say to him, then, I mean, I'm looking at what the board's charter is, turn down this application. Don't let him make a change to his operation that will reduce his current parking problem.
I would say, give us a reasonable, non-laughable parking plan.
And
Because that's what you made me do. I could have built 100 rooms. I didn't know I could have parked 50 cars on Colony Beach at low tide and called that parking. Because that's what that is. I could have built my 100-room hotel if I had fraudulently done a parking plan.
So you would do what? You would have the board do what?
Reject this application, definitely, and require any future development at all have a parking plan that makes sense. I don't think this passes the straight face test. I'd also like to point out that there's a structure on number 11, 12, and 13. I saw it today, I went by. There's a shed that he constructed on top of 3 of those spots. So not only does he have a shed on 3 of those spots, he's restricted access to the grass that no one's ever parked on, and he puts a tent there for weddings. Come on, guys.
On 11, 12, and 13? I thought he put the tent, we were told.
No, 11, 12, and 13 is a gray shed.
No, he said there's another building on the left there,
Yeah,
12, 13.
Just not on their property.
So I guess, what do I want you to do? I want it to make sense. I wouldn't have to staff my lot. I wouldn't have to talk to tourists. I wouldn't have, if he had parking that satisfied his business. So, you know, I guess what I'm asking to do is either withdraw your application, figure out somehow to do it. I figured out how to do it at the Colony.
Okay.
You know, that's not my job. I'm not developing his property.
I'll challenge you, I
Yeah.
do hear what you're saying, but I'll challenge you, that was
Sure.
a new development, that was a new property. That-
No, it wasn't.
No, but you had
When-
more degrees of freedom.
When you built onto the north end of your property.
Correct.
That was a new development.
Yeah. But you made me do a parking plan for the south side, which we didn't do any development on.
He was already parking over there,
And we own that parking lot.
I understand.
but he had the land.
This has been a hotel there for quite some time,
I know.
as has Schooners and then the Breakwater and whatever it is now. And they had approved back in the 1980s this particular parking plan, which apparently has never been used. Well, there used to be the roadway back there.
It was a road. Yeah.
But no one's been parking back there on the grass that I am aware of, although we were told it's happened. And it had been approved back then as a parking area, whether it's being used as a parking area or not. What's before the board right now is a change of use inside the building. They're gonna change a couple of spa rooms and use them for something else, and they've got this other one that's in the corner that's gonna be used as a family compound or something. That's what's before the board. What the challenge for the board has been is trying to figure out, well, where's the parking? Where was the parking plan? And is there a parking plan that supports not just what you want to do, but the existing business that you've got? What I'm hearing is existing business is not, they're spilling the parking over the park that you built.
Correct, they're not supporting their business with the parking they have currently.
That is not a part of what the planning board does.
Okay.
We have no authority, teeth, jurisdiction to do any of that. That's all the town on where people park, and there are always surprises. I remember when the mainstay was coming around, turns out they don't know those spots in front. Those are town spots, but everyone thinks they belong to the mainstay. So parking is an ongoing issue. It's not
Yep.
getting any better. What we're presented with right now is that we've got to, weigh this into your, and there may be other public other people who want to speak to this as well. And I'm thinking out loud with some of this because it's an ever-changing project. They're asking to make a change where they're going to reduce, and the change, if they were just changing the building, that'd be fine. But because there's parking associated with it, it's actually technically a reduction in their need for parking. So I've got to weigh that in their favor. The rest of it, if this were a new business, if it were, they're changing over from condos to make it a hotel, then it becomes a different kind of situation, and in terms of the board's approval of that, because it is a conditional use. I'm not sure. I'm still thinking out loud here.
Well, I can comment on the fact that John Einsiedler just said that was lobby space, which they sell wine and t-shirts out of. So if it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck. That sounds like retail to me.
But as they're claiming also that it's a single person who's running the desk at the hotel and managing the gift shop in the same space.
So that's a check-in area, not retail.
Right.
So no one's going in outside and buying a bottle of wine.
That would be my impression. It's someone who's staying on the property.
It's open to the public. I mean, this building is not being used the way it's designed. The parking is not being allocated correctly. I would even challenge at 127, there's some other disparities against his application and what's really happening. There are other renters in town that claim they own 4 of those spots. So I think there's so much of an analysis needs to be done on this parking area that has not been done. They're just trying to get slid under with this smoke and mirrors of an exchange of rooms for retail space and retail space for spa space, when they're not even telling you legitimately what they have.
John, have you ever had a discussion with the police or the code enforcement office about the problems that you've been having?
No, I'm trying to find out what is our way to have this concern addressed. Because I don't want to tow tourists.
Yeah.
Daily.
Okay.
And I call Sonny, I call the owner. That's why I thought I'd go through it. I don't want to be here. This is not the main way of doing business. The way is to go down and say, hey, Sonny, your people are parking, And then to watch him on TV say he's never had a problem with parking. Took me 3 times to get through the video. I had to stop it. It was like watching a football game. I had to shut the computer down for a minute. So I think his application is laughable at best and fraudulent at worst. The application for what he wants to do is filled with non-facts. And I'm interested who I call and say, what do we do about the structure on these spots? What do we do about, so if I pulled in as a customer and said, I want to park in one of your 20 spots, and he doesn't allow that, who takes care of that kind of stuff, Because none of this gets enforced later. This is our chance. This is my chance for you guys to look at this.
I understand.
Yeah.
And you heard me say what our remit is.
Yeah?
But one of the things we do provide is we provide a public forum. And you're taking advantage of that.
Yeah.
I think it's the correct thing to do. Any other questions for this?
Well, the only thing I could say is that I think, so I'm a new guy, right? So I've only been on the board, this is like my 4th
You
meeting.
played that card before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gone.
But from from my point of view, you know, when I first heard this situation, I kind of felt, well, there's grass here, those spots exist, they don't exist, and I kind of went to, look, what is it that the building is gonna be used for today, going forward with this proposal, and how many spots are required? That's what we need to get to. And then they meet it or they don't. It's pretty black and white. And we've had a hard time getting there. We've gone back and forth a few times, and even tonight, the presentation was very, well, you know, I found this drawing, and who knows? So I think that's what we're asking, is we gotta go back to get the facts. So I feel your pain about the parking, but I don't think that we're doing anything lightly here. I think that we definitely wanna do the right thing. So I don't have any questions for you. I guess that's
No,
just.
I think it's a good point, but I would like to, George, address the fact that we started this way with the colony. We started saying we have 20 motel rooms, we have 12 dorm rooms, I think we had something like 7 at the Fonte Terrace. We're gonna have a net loss, and this board said no. You guys said no to that routine. You said you would need a new parking plan for both sides of the street. I said, but I'm not doing anything on the south side of the street. You gotta show me where everyone's gonna park. You did. And you're not doing that to him.
No, I think we did do that.
You didn't,
You're telling
because
us
you
this
wouldn't
is-
let me do a parking plan that doesn't make sense. You made me rewrite the entire parking plan for the Colony Hotel. We changed the lot
You're not
size.
hearing me.
I am hearing you.
I'm saying we did ask for a parking plan that was clear and that accommodated and aligned with the claim of how many employees, how many rooms. What you're saying is that it's not quite what it appears to be.
It's definitely not. I mean,
And-
who
and
owns
I
the
think-
dock?
Let me get back to the question you're asking, and I think we as a town board can ask the same question. Where does he go to say, look at, there's a parking plan, it's on paper now, it's clear as clear can be, but yet it isn't being used that way. As a result, there's spillover into his lot on a routine basis. Who does he go to go get that fixed? We've got other cases in town where people basically are not doing, they don't do what they agreed to do. What's the recourse at that point? Where's the enforcement arm? Is this something he goes to the select board for? Does he go to the code enforcement? Does he go to the police? I don't know, somehow to me, it seemed like code enforcement, the enforcement name suggested to me that this is a code enforcement.
Is there an issue day to day, or is it just like on a wedding or when there's special events?
Well, this is where I don't want to get confusing, because it's a neighborhood issue. So it's day to day. I mean, I have 3 to 4 cars parked in front of the Cove Side Market when we're open, but it's traditionally Mabel's. But we're not gonna talk about Mabel's because that's not on the application, but he has no parking at Mabel's. So, yeah, we have parking issues down there, and it's frustrating. We put up chains at night, and people move the cones and park at night. So it's only because there
Almost like it needs
isn't
to be
adequate
solved,
parking
isn't
at those establishments, you know? And I'm just, a quick question is that on the parking, I know you're trading parking, but no one talks about the docks. Is there an ordinance for dockage? Don't they have to have a spot for every person who docks? They have employees, but they don't have the dockage.
I don't know that off the top of my head, so I'd have to.
Okay, there's
look
a
into
whole
that.
bunch of
There's
stuff
a
missing.
separate strip down there that they mark and say it's just for the.
Yeah, I counted those today. Those are part of the 59, I think.
I'm not certain that they are.
Yeah.
I don't think they are, actually.
Okay,
Can
I
you
went
go-
through today and
go back
counted,
to
yeah.
127?
I just think that it's incomplete and making a lot of assumptions that aren't accounted for. So,
So the
where it
ones
says
that go down Josiah Curtis
19
Lane, but road used to go through, those are all the co-op spots
over on the left,
on the left, yeah.
where it says all those on the left, but if I'm talking about the up by 14, I think those docks are owned by
Oh,
John's
those.
property, the private docks.
They're showing a couple of spots there that are not numbered.
Above, does that
Above
say
10,
15
between
or
10 and
30,
11.
14? I'm not talking about dockage for lobstermen, I'm talking about dockage for
No, I
rental
understand what you
dockage.
mean. That's a reasonable question. I don't know who has access to those docks. Who owns those docks? Are they owned by one? By
On the
same
town map, it highlights, when you highlight that lot, it highlights the docks with it. So I only assume that those docks, I don't, Sonny, if he was here, could answer whether they own those docks in charge or not. I don't know. There's also so that's one question, is who owns the docks and is there any parking required for dockage? The other question is, Seacoast Holdings owns the building that the other Dana's is in, and he says 4 of those spots are his too, and those are also counted in his count of 59. There's a whole bunch of weird stuff happening, and I don't feel like this is above board.
Okay, thank you, John.
All right.
Appreciate you taking the time to clarify.
I'm also not questioning about the outbuilding where the restaurant used to be, back behind Dana's. What's that used for now?
It looks like a rental unit. I don't know.
Okay.
So it's a,
That was in the room count as a rental unit.
Okay.
Thank you, John.
And do you know who owns the docks, John?
I think the breakwater owns the docks. I don't know who uses them. I just know they're there.
Well, there are quite a number of boats out there, seasonally mostly, but if I were to rent a dock, one of the things I'd want to know in my lease was, did I have parking spots?
Parking spot
Yeah,
for your dock, yeah.
I'll ask Sonny. I really don't know anything about the docks, per se.
And he also owned Mabel's?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
so Ed, to answer your question about enforcement a little
Oh,
bit,
thank you.
if the application goes through, you can add a condition to the findings of fact that would disallow any structures or tents or anything being placed on that grassy area, which would give us in our office the ability to, to say this area that's needed for parking is not being used for parking. If we get complaints that vehicles are being parked elsewhere, we are then able to issue a notice of violation
But then,
with that. So it doesn't help us right now in the
no, I think there's
our
a,
current parking
I think
situation.
the concern is, right now, what I'm hearing from Mr. Martin is that there are situations routinely where the parking that is allocated is not available, and as a result, his property is being hit on.
My
He wants to
understanding,
know who to call. And I don't think the answer is, we need to do something with this application to answer that question. I think, how does the town work? That's what he's asking. And we don't have a crisp answer for it, is what it sounds
Let me
like.
ask John. The other.
Wait,
Yeah.
sorry, there's 2 Johns.
You, John.
Me, John.
Yeah, we've got one back there too.
Sure.
If the breakwater made the lawn into parking spaces,
Mm-hmm.
now, the town has parking ordinances, and these spaces would then be delineated. They'd be parking spaces.
It'd be a bummer, but yeah, yeah.
Would that alleviate, do you think, the parking issue with people going over and parking on your property?
I still don't think he has enough parking for his establishment, even with that.
All right. And thanks.
Yeah,
And-
sorry. I mean, that's a truthful answer.
No,
Yeah,
that's,
yeah.
thanks.
That's what we're looking for.
I'm thinking of the property, you were here, Ed, you remember that, the boatyard up at Town Corners, up across from Winks.
Yeah.
So when that came through, it's a conditional use that went back and forth on this board for quite some time about the parking issue. And I remember the findings, the facts stating that there were gonna be, according to the ordinances, there were gonna be entrance signs, exit signs, they were gonna be clearly marked how you get in and out because it's a pretty busy intersection. And there were gonna be spots that were delineated. That never happened. And they weren't gonna store boats there in the winter, but they are. That's a separate issue. But it's a similar sentiment that here's a parking plan that may or may not ever get enforced, which up at town corners doesn't seem to be a big deal, but in this case, people are parking on your property.
That's the only reason why I'm here.
Thanks.
Are there anyone else here tonight that can speak to that? No, anybody online, any hands raised?
Yes, we do that.
Would you allow them?
Hello?
Hello?
Hi, this is Randolph Pepper. I'm a resident at 135 Ocean Avenue, the Point Arundel condos. And so my concern is also on the 133 property. The parking you're showing that's going to be on the grass, that's on the view of at least 4 of the units in our condo area. So I don't know if we have a say in how that's being utilized, but it will be a negative impact on our property.
I don't think there's been any proposal to change the parking in that area.
Well, that's the grassy area they're showing that's going to be full of parking, where the tent's currently set up. Yeah,
I'm
spot
sorry.
14 through
I'm just saying
33,
he's,
that's
all
grass.
all we've seen is a diagram that says, here's where the existing parking is. There's no proposal to add parking there.
There currently is no parking there.
When they approved that project initially, that's kind of the nub of it, Randall. When they approved that project initially, that area was delineated as parking.
Okay, so that was in
We're told. Whether it's ever
2011.
been used for parking, we're not clear.
Right. Is it possible, do we have any rights on stopping that from being turned into parking?
I think the existence is, it already is parking. It just may or may not have ever been used as parking.
So you might ask, if in fact people start parking there, who would you call?
Correct.
I think that's the question John has been asking us here, John Martin. And I don't have a crisp answer for that.
Okay,
but
because what I'm envisioning is they're going to plow that up and pave it for a parking lot.
I don't think anyone's proposed that.
Well, that's what I'm sorry, this is Jennifer Sutton, I'm Randy's wife.
Hi, Janet.
That's what's going to have to happen because we see from our condo, we see and hear the lovely outdoor wedding receptions that are held out there on the grass. We've walked out there and seen them. There's no parking back there right now, whether it was approved before or not.
Right.
Also, I find that this job that you on the board have is an impossible one if you can't get current drawings that have been made of this property and you're trying to do it as well as identify paperwork that isn't current. So I would suggest that you take a tour over there, that you walk yourself. I think John from the colony is absolutely on the mark.
Thank you. I'd also point out a quick plug that we do have available seats on the planning board. For citizens who are interested. It's 2 Wednesdays a month and a lot of fun. You don't apparently have to know anything.
And we did a couple meetings ago when we thought that there might be an issue with the number of spots. We kind of thought that it would be a shame to go back and say, okay, let's get rid of the grassy area because it's nice and everybody in town and the tourists enjoy that.
Well,
To
I think
rip it up and say, let's pave it.
I think it's worth noting that they would not be allowed to pave it. It is in the shoreline zone, and
Good.
that is not an option, paving
Right.
the grassy area.
Then where's this parking going to go?
That's the question.
Remember, Janet, that the applicant is asking to change some internals in their building that would reduce the demand for parking, albeit by a small amount. They're not asking for additional parking.
Well, we view this area, parking numbers 3 through 13 from our window. And it's obstructed right now, like he said, with a building. They currently have delivery trucks and the tent rental trucks and the garbage trucks make an enormous amount of noise picking up trash there. So, all of these questions are what we have as far as what the sound and the plan, and it just doesn't sound to me like there's any planning really that's been done correctly. So I don't know how you could even make a decision is my here. They're not giving you enough information and certainly nothing that is current.
Understood. Janet, is your last name also Pepper?
No, it's Sutton, Jennifer Sutton.
Oh, Jennifer, I'm sorry, I got it.
That's
I
all
got
right.
your first name wrong. Thank you.
It bothers me. A lot of the parking is on someone else's property.
Yeah. So I hope there's a follow-up meeting at some point where maybe our HOA president could get involved and just tell our, our concerns about this development. So,
You just have.
we received notification of this meeting, so if there's another one concerning this property, I hope we get that invitation as well.
Understood.
Good.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Anyone else, any other hands raised?
No other hands raised.
Okay, with that, I will
Can I
close
say
it.
something?
While it's
Yeah.
public, yep, keep it public.
I think we're hearing an awful lot of issues. From what I heard tonight, I was a little concerned about how this application was presented at the end. This ultimately may come to us at some point. I would prefer that we at least can think about continuing this public hearing and make no actual action tonight on this. That's just my opinion as a resident of the town.
I think
Selectmen.
that's actually a reasonable suggestion, because we do have a new set of plans, questions about the retail space. We have had comments from residents that have not brought into question the modifications that they want to make to the building, which is what brought it before the board. Because the board is its conditional use, the board has the right to review the project in its entirety. There's a certain amount of grandfathering that's going in where people are parking. And one of the requests that the board made in summary of this was, could we please see a plan marking the number of slots so that we could understand what it is that you're describing? And we've gotten that, and now we're getting feedback that say that is not reality. So I think that we need to go back and have more discussion about it. So
I'm inclined to agree with Mr. Bancroft's request to extend the public hearing. I want to point out that from the first part of my tenure here on the board, and I'm in my 5th year now, we had a nominal select person who had advisory oversight of us, but since David's been on the board, on the select board, he's actually made an in-person commitment to being here most meetings, and it's added quite a bit. I don't want to abuse that. I just want to acknowledge it and thank you for it.
Thank you, David.
And I'm inclined to go along with his request. I'd like to add to it. I like that. It dovetails with my own feeling is I think I'd like to ask for an audit by code enforcement, Nadia, if you're willing, or you want to talk to Galen about how we do this, if you want participation from me or others on the board, would certainly do that, but I think that there is a code enforcement issue that has been raised, alarmingly so, in this public hearing, and there were sort of suspicions of it, inklings of it, that came about by how the plans pulled together. Is that, I don't know if it's something you've done in the past, but it's something that says, you're gonna go down and you're gonna walk it, and you're gonna say, wait a minute, there's a requirement here that was agreed to in 2011 that this much parking was allocated, and by all accounts, from the neighbors, from the abutters, from associated businesses, that's not what's going on. You've got structures on the parking, you've got tents that are being erected on the parking, you've got a grassed-in area that isn't being used for parking, and all in all, it says there's a code enforcement issue. What do you think about that? I don't want to be throwing the code enforcement under the bus, but and if you go back and talk to Galen about it, he says, no, really, this is a police issue, then we'll know. Or we go to the we're gonna talk in a little while about a memo that our town manager has put out. I don't wanna be asking for something that isn't mine to give here, but
Sure. So you know, we've already agreed we'll go down with John and check out the site and see kind of what we see in terms of retail space. I'm
but beyond that.
yes, yep. I'm happy to talk to Galen he was out of the office today, so we haven't had a
Understood. chance
to catch up before the meeting, but I'll talk to him tomorrow and you know, we can get back to you and we'll discuss Lori's memo as well later in the meeting.
One
But
of the
I
things that comes up here is that, you know, John alluded to the fact that Mabel's across the street has an issue. There's a community problem here. And I think that maybe there's a willingness, but not a mechanism to address this as a community. And we're not gonna magically make parking. No one's gonna go add a parking structure down there, right? It's not gonna happen. A three-story like Biddeford has, right, down in the downtown area. Could go in, and be a moneymaker. No, we're not gonna do that.
Put them on Colony Beach.
Whose beach?
Don't even joke about that. You know,
Parking garage on Colony Beach.
the beach, why people come to the Colony Hotel, yes, that's that beach, that very one. We know why this is why this is a desirable area. Let's not cut our own throats here, but this is not gonna be solved magically, right? It's not Harry Potter. So I would like to propose that we do extend the public hearing. I move that we keep the public hearing open until 2 weeks from tonight.
I have a question about that.
Okay?
If we extend a public hearing, and then we get more information, and we discuss it as a board and with the public, and we close that public hearing, can there be further discussion if there's a resubmittal of plans, and then you reopen a public hearing, or is a public hearing that final step? We've never had two public hearings on the same project.
So the public hearing is kind of the final step.
Yeah.
You do have to issue, I think it's within 60 days after the initial public hearing, you do have to issue a decision.
That's what I thought.
So that, you know, the applicant is certainly welcome to resubmit at a later date.
But there could not be, as a result of a public hearing, modifications, and then a second public hearing based on those modifications.
Why not?
Well, I
As
don't
long as
know.
we
I've
don't
never-
close the public hearing.
I've never seen it, that's what I'm asking.
I think that you know what, I would need to read the fine print. I don't know if we start that clock when the public hearing has closed or when the public hearing has opened. I think it's not usually an issue that we run into, so I'm not
I'd like
entirely
to
sure.
think that this is a problem we can solve if we define it. What problem were you're speculating, or do you have a solution in mind?
No, I'm speculating on a process problem, is that what if we
There
send
may
it back?
be, but I think we can deal with that.
I mean, right now, I see two things. We approve this, and then there's some detritus downstream from it, or we disapprove it, and it goes before the zoning board of appeals and the select board and everybody else to try and figure this out.
Yeah,
Whatever it is that we're trying to figure out. I thought they just wanted to make a modification to the building.
I think that we have used the planning board mechanism correctly to have a public forum. And it's exposed a problem that suggests that we don't have an accurate picture of what's really going on there.
I think that's true. And for instance, when the colony first came to us a number of years ago, part of it was, this is where people walk, this is the gateway, this is the new Kennebunkport, but we've got no place to put people once they're down there. Okay, I would second the motion to continue the public hearing.
All those in favor?
Aye.
As a note to anybody, you know, in the audience or who may be on Zoom, we do not send out abutter notices again. So just, you know, remember that there will be another public hearing next time.
On the
We don't
17th.
renotice for a continued public hearing. Yes, on the 17th.
And you think that's enough time to do whatever?
I guess I ask the applicant, are you comfortable with that?
Thank you, John.
I think the reality
Thanks for your patience.
reality of this is if it ever gets approved, it's gonna get approved with a condition on it. That, you know, is gonna probably put the end to the wedding happening in the grassy area between the hotel and the water.
Knoll.
I think that's just the reality of it.
with that, I'd like to,
I don't know, can you actually close it? Or do you just move on to the next one?
like to adjourn this portion of the meeting. And we've continued the public hearing till next time, and John, you'll be watching, I'm sure. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks.
For your help. All right, that was interesting. Glad I didn't try to write the findings of fact.
Oh, that you have.
Aren't you glad you stayed?
Item number 5, 251101 Barrels Way, HOA.
Good evening. My name is Ryan Van Lewing. I'm the Burrows Way Homeowners Association president. Just here as a follow-up. The rest of the board presented a couple of weeks ago with regards to our request to deny the white line striping on the left side of the road as you enter coming north off of Mills Road.
Okay. So, any questions for?
No.
We do not have a parking problem on Burrows Way, just so
Are
you
you
know.
sure? Can I see the plan?
You want to rent any?
We could sublet some spots and provide shuttle service if that would help.
So I do have a question, and I'm not certain how we do this in terms of I haven't done a minor revision to a subdivision
We're
that
going to do a
didn't,
public hearing too, right?
right, that didn't involve two properties. So on the application, it was John Rolando,
Yes.
who had submitted the application, and then a number of people presented last week. You were here this week as president of the HOA.
And our secretary, Linda
Okay.
Hurley, the
Okay.
vice president, Kristen Martin,
It
the
would
treasurer,
be-
John Rolando was here. So the rest of the board was here
I
previously.
wrote up a findings of fact, and I generalized based on the homeowners association. It would be useful to have a letter just stating that that's your role.
I believe that was included as the minutes when I was voted into the office.
We do have minutes,
We do have
including,
Yes.
Fine, okay. Should I amend the findings of fact, or leave them as are?
that's up to the board. We could certainly also strike out the name if need be, I think, and just.
I can sit down and let Linda talk if you'd like.
No, I've written findings of fact that mention John.
You're
Rolando.
presuming,
Yeah.
let's just hear if anybody in the public,
Sorry.
are there any hands? Let's open the public hearing and ask if there are any hands raised. Anyone wish to comment on this application?
No hands raised.
Okay, then we will close the public hearing and
I would make a motion that this application is complete.
Second.
I would go further. I would make a motion to approve this application.
And I would approve the application too.
I would second that.
And just to clarify, George did draft a findings of fact and sent it out to us for review. What you're asking for is to have a waiver of the sidewalk requirement and not have a stripe on there. And
Correct.
I think that's what we're prepared to grant. I would move that we grant that waiver. Yes.
Aye. Aye.
And with that, I would move that this is, we approve this application.
Second. Aye.
4-0. Good luck to you.
Good
Thank you
work.
for your time this evening.
Good process, thank you.
I'll reach out to you guys when the findings of fact are ready to be picked up. Probably be tomorrow.
Okay, so either Linda or myself will take care of it.
Perfect.
See, and imagine if you guys were first.
We really
But look at all the fun stuff you got to
Well, we
watch.
learned a lot this evening.
Yeah, yeah.
And there are openings on the board.
I was gonna say,
You sell it so
the
well.
problem is you learn too much.
Do I have any experience with it? None, zero, zip. And I still,
We thank you for your service.
please join us.
Can't even see the stripe today, could you?
Now it's a little slick.
Yipes stripes. You've been here more than 5 years.
On board?
Yes.
I think I'm in my 6th year.
Oh, God, it's been more than that. Pre-COVID, remember those days?
On to item 6, other business. I asked for this item, discussion of the town manager's memo to be put on here because I got it and I was a little confused by it. I don't think others have seen it.
Have not.
So I will share that, and, so Laurie put this out.
Thank you.
She talked to her town staff, and she decided it made sense to send a copy of this to the chairs of all of the boards. I don't know what prompted her to do it, but basically the gist of it, as I read it, says, hey, people have been asking the town staff to do stuff, and they can't do that without wreaking havoc on budgets and allocations of people, and I want all those requests to come through me. And it wasn't quite clear on how that may or may not affect what the planning board typically does. Like I don't think twice about asking Nadia to do something like put this on the minutes, and I don't go to the town manager to do that. And I don't think anyone is suggesting that, although the memo says, if you have any questions, lean in the direction of asking me. So, is there anything you can tell us, Nadia or David, to help us understand how we are to take this direction?
So I've actually got Galen here on Zoom. I think that he's going to take this one.
Okay, appreciate it. I just didn't want to own this myself as the lead, having gotten this email missive and not being
Good
quite
evening,
clear
board.
myself. Hi, Galen.
Good
Good evening.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, I wish you'd been here earlier. We had a really interesting meeting.
I could tell. So yeah, I can give you shed some light into this memo for you.
Appreciate it.
This originated by the town manager, and it's just, a refresher, a reminder. We have a lot of new committees, a lot of new members on those committees. And so this is just a gentle reminder that if there's special requests from the boards, that we have to let the manager know. So she's helping to coordinate and direct staff where resources are. And of course, she's looking high level with the budget in mind as well. And so this is not going to impact Nadia or myself offering those support memos that you've been receiving. It's not going to impact minutes or posting the agendas. It's not anything in that regard. It's more for those special request items, such as, you want a legal opinion on something, or you want town staff to research something, other towns, what are they doing? Like for the subdivision ordinance, if you wanted to make amendments to that. It's when you're asking staff to go above and beyond what we normally do as just ancillary support for the board, is where we need to rope in the town manager. Does that make sense?
It does.
In the general sense, it does, but I think what I would normally do is with a special request, I would ask you or Nadia and expect that you would clear that with the town manager. If I were in your position, I'm not sure I'd be comfortable with me going around you. I'm gonna go talk to Laurie and then I'll go to Galen. I don't think that's how the town's gonna work. I think that will just get us all gummed up. For example, this evening we talked about, I don't know if you were here for it or not, the possibility of in the next couple of weeks, asking someone from the code office to audit the parking situation, the reality, boots on the ground parking situation at the Breakwater Inn. It's something is amiss. We're hearing it from too many sources. Some of the information we have isn't right. There really is an enforcement issue. We've got the neighbors and credible ones saying, no, this isn't working, what they have there now. And so I'm asking, can someone from code enforcement, I hope that's the right resource, go and check it out. I'd like to think I shouldn't be going to Laurie with that question, but we can do that if that's what this is asking.
I will note that Lori has joined the meeting and she has her hand raised.
Please.
It's your answer.
Please.
Where's she parked?
Yeah. Wise guy wants to know where you parked, Laurie.
Good evening, board. How are you?
Very well,
Good.
thank you. Thanks for taking the time.
Certainly, if people have questions about the memo, I did offer that people could reach out to me if they needed clarification. I think that Galen did a fine job in terms of summarizing it. I think in terms of the planning board does not take the position of requesting that staff or requiring staff to do code enforcement activities, but certainly tonight we heard concerns that there were enforcement issues in regards to what could be a previous approval through a planning process. And if that is true, then we would look at those previous approvals and what conditions may have been a part of that.
Yeah.
If it's on private property, parking is not going to be enforced by police, but it could be a violation of a site plan review or some other planning review.
Or the code. It could be
So
in violation
code
of
would
the
go
ordinance.
up, yeah, absolutely. So tonight, my point is that tonight we heard someone complain about that. And so I would expect staff to make note of that and to go investigate that, since we've heard a complaint. A lot of times, that's how we find out about issues, is because of a complaint. And that's how a lot of investigations are initiated. And tonight, that was another example of that. So in terms of requests, for additional staff, I would expect that you would come to the town manager, and I wouldn't expect then for you to go to Galen, but that I would direct Galen in terms of, what kind of support is needed and the timeline on that.
I'm sorry, say that again on using this example.
I said, if you did want additional work, I would expect that the chair would bring that to my attention, and then I would direct Galen or Nadia, rather than the chair going to the town manager and the chair then going to staff. I would direct staff.
I lost the bubble on that. Let's just use tonight's example. On this parking concern that came up, should the outcome be that I ask Galen and Nadia to please look into it? Or should the outcome be, oh gosh, Nadia and Galen, I'll call the town manager and ask her to ask you to look into this?
So it depends on why you are asking them. If you're asking them to audit the plan that was presented to ensure that how they represented current parking is what actually exists on the property, that would be part of their normal planning board support. If you are asking them to do it because you are concerned about a violation, then no, that would be directed to me, that we heard about a violation at the meeting and we need you to investigate it. And then I would direct staff.
Okay, so this is helpful to use a real world example. Using tonight's, do you want to see an email from me saying we heard this? Even though Nadia and Galen both heard it also, you want an email or a phone call from me saying?
If you are getting engaged in it, then yes, I would. You could say, listen, that sounds like a code violation and you should talk to code staff or town manager. You could direct citizens to do that. But if you want to take the piece and say, citizen, I'm gonna talk to the town manager and let her know of your concerns, then yes, then I would have you talk to me.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, I believe so.
All right, thank you for all your service. You guys have a lot on your plate, and I appreciate all the moments you put together for the town.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
We have openings, Laurie, if you.
Complicated. Anybody else have any questions that they want to raise on this, or?
No.
I'd like to move on to the findings of fact for the completed application. George, I know you have one for Barrels Way, and there's one
Here's-
that Mike wrote. Who's reading that for?
I'll read mine. I'm a fast reader.
Doesn't have to be that fast.
Yeah, if you can send them both
Well,
down.
yours is nice and short.
Barrels Way. Change the class. Oh, sorry.
Kennebunkport Planning Board findings of fact and decision of minor revision of subdivision application Barrels Way, HOA, Barrels Way, Kennebunkport, Maine. In an application dated 10/04/2025, the applicant is proposing to amend the developer and planning board's modifications of the sidewalk requirements for the roadway by requesting that the line striping be removed as an improvement. Following a site plan review pursuant to the Kennebunkport Land Use Ordinance held on 11/19/2025 and a public hearing held on 12/03/2025, the Kennebunkport Planning Board makes the following findings and conclusions and renders the following decision. Findings of fact. 1. The representative and applicant of the properties at Barrows Way HOA, Barrows Way, Kennebunkport, and the HOA designated John Rolando as representative for this matter. 2. The property has a street address of 0 Barrows Way, Kennebunkport, Maine 04046, identified as the Assessor's Tax Map 23, Block 001, Lots A through 1 through 14 on the Municipal Assessor's Tax Map. The property is recorded in the York County Registry of Deeds, Book 18944, page 154. 3. The property is in the Free Enterprise Zone and partially in the Shoreland Zone. 4. The Planning Board heard from the applicant that the plan calls for a stripe in lieu of a sidewalk. After living without the sidewalk and stripe for almost 7 years, they realized that the stripe may introduce a safety issue, as it may induce bicycles from Mills Road to follow onto Barrows Way, where children play. They want to eliminate the stripe and request a waiver for the sidewalk requirement. The neighborhood is working well without one. The planning board granted waivers for signage, lighting, stormwater, acreage, and site plan. Decision. Revised amendment to the subdivision plan application identified above is hereby approved. Conditions of approval, if any, pursuant to Article 10.11 and 10.12.e. 1. The applicants must record a copy of this decision and provide proof of such recordation in the form of a copy thereof attested by the Registrar of Deeds before any permits may issue or before any construction activity may commence. 2. The applicant shall comply with all terms and conditions of the Town of Kennebunkport ordinances. December 3rd, 2025, Kennebunkport Planning Board. Oops.
You have another one to read?
There we go. Kennebunkport Planning Board findings of fact and decision application for shoreline stabilization at 132 Marshall Point Road. Following site plan reviews pursuant to the Kennebunkport Land Use Ordinance held on 19 November 2025 and a public hearing held on 3 December 2025, the Kennebunkport Planning Board makes the following findings of fact and conclusions and renders the following decisions subject to the conditions enumerated below. Findings of fact are as follows. 1. The owner of record and applicant for 132 Marshall Point Road is Marshall Point Realty, LLC, with mailing address of 60 State Street, FLR 9, Boston, Mass. 02109. 2. In a letter dated September 13, 2023, applicant authorized Walsh Engineering Associates, Inc. to act as agent in this matter. Address of agent is 1 Karen Drive, Suite 2A, Westbrook, Maine 04092. 3. The property has a street address of 132 Marshall Point Road, Kennebunkport, Maine 04046. 4. The property is identified as map 31, block 1, lot 20 on the municipal tax assessor's maps. 5. The property is located in the Goose Rocks Shoreland and Resource Protection Zone. The project site is located entirely within the 70-foot hat setback dimension and Zone VE, EL16 and EL14, NABD 88 preliminary 2017 FEMA flood maps. 6. Applicant demonstrated a legal interest in the property by providing a quitclaim deed with covenant for the property recorded in the York County Registry of Deeds, Book 18493, pages 645 to 647 on October 14, 2020. 7. Applicant has received permit by rule required by the Natural Resources Protection Act to the Maine Department of Environmental Protection. 8. Existing property at 132 Marshall Point Road consists of a land area of 1.3 acres on the south side of the Batson River. Existing features on the property include the paved private driveway, a single-family residence, an in-ground pool, several landscaped areas, and approximately 525 feet of shoreline along the Atlantic Ocean. The highest annual tide elevation along the shoreline is at 6.3 feet. The property is in the effective flood zone V2EL 10.259, NAV 88, and preliminary flood zones VEEL 16 and 18, NAV 88 vertical datum, which have been indicated on the plan set. Along the seashore, there are three types of shorelines. Stone retaining wall. This vertical mortared stone surface wall has experienced washouts, cracks, and partial destruction from the December 23, 2022 nor'easter and from more recent storms in January 2024. Landscape lawn exists landward from this wall. Riprap revetment. Shoreline consists of 4 to 6 foot diameter stone revetment seaward from the stone retaining wall. Vegetation exists in sections between the revetment and the stone wall. The revetment protects the northeast side of the property from open ocean. The revetment on the western side of the property provides inadequate protection, allowing erosion and washouts. Sandy beach. Batson River deposits sediment to an area landward from the existing riprap revetment, creating a small sandy beach area and experiencing tidal influence. Due to rising sea levels, increased storm severity and frequency, and existing erosion issues, applicant has become concerned about the current and future resiliency of their shoreline. It's really good, Mike. 9, in an application dated November 21, 2025, the applicant proposes the following. Construction of a riprap revetment on the top of existing ledge and old revetment seawall and a vegetative buffer behind the existing seawall. 10, applicant requests no submission or performance waivers from the requirements of the Kennebunkport Land Use Ordinance. See Planning Board Memo, Board Approval All. 11, pursuant to the requirements of Article 10.10.a of the Land Use Ordinance Guidelines for Decisions, the Planning Board shall approve a site plan application unless it makes a negative ruling on one or more of the following identified findings which would otherwise compel denial. And on A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, and P, the findings are either yes or not applicable. When a proposed development will be located within the shoreline zone or resource protection zone, in addition to the requirements of the Kennebunkport Land Use Ordinance, Article 10, the town-wide regulations in Article 6, the performance standards for specific activities and land uses in the Article 7, approval of the development will also require that the board makes positive findings based on the information presented that the proposed use A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H are all found yes or not applicable. Any negative findings by the board means that the application has been denied. The application is otherwise complete. Conclusions. Articles 10.10.a of the Land Use Ordinance mandates that the Planning Board shall approve a site plan application unless it makes one or more identified findings that would otherwise compel denial. And as noted above, the board makes no such findings. Decision. The site plan application identified above is hereby approved. Conditions of approval, if any, pursuant to Article 10.11 and 10.12.e. 1. The applicant pursuant to 10.12.e shall notify the Planning Board prior to the transfer of rights to construct an approved project. 2. The applicant must record a copy of the decision and provide proof of such recordation in the York County Registry of Deeds before any permits may issue or before any construction of activity may commence. 3. The applicant shall comply with all terms and conditions of the Town of Kennebunkport ordinances as well as the main DEP approvals dated 3 December 2025, Kennebunkport Planning Board.
So while everybody's signing all of those, Galen and I would love to get the board members into our office for some training, just on reading site plans and general administrative things. We have some new members on the board and haven't done any of that since you guys have joined, and I'm sure maybe it would be a helpful refresher for those that have been on the board for longer. We can't have more than 2 people in the office at the same time, or we are having an unadvertised meeting. So we're hoping to get you guys in sometime either next week or the week following in singles or pairs, either way. So I'll send a follow-up email so that we can schedule some time, but we think it would be helpful for you guys.
Yeah, that's
since,
good. Thank you.
We throw you off the deep end a lot of the time and expect you to know what you're looking at. So we just want to provide some support for you guys.
Thank you.
You have a pen?
With that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there such a motion?
Second that motion.
I motion we adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.